Good afternoon, everyone. So again, welcome to a new quick guide for those aspiring safety officers out there, or those who have just one or less than a year experience. So basically, what we'll be discussing here is on how to conduct your safety audit. So this will also apply on other integrated management systems like for environment and quality. But basically for this session, we will focus on safety. And I would just like to highlight that auditing is a skill, so you really have to work on it. And each organization has a different approach. So what you learn from this session, you have to use this as a template or as a basis. Then as you go have a tenure on your company, you can adjust accordingly. And that's it. So we'll just now start with the discussion to make this short. So first, there are two columns here, the questions and the Pdca cycle. So we want to maximize that we will cover the plan, do, check, and act cycle during the conduct of the audit. So for the first question, you have to ask what are your OTPs. So basically that's the objectives, targets, and programs of the company. So this will work with other departments, not just the safety department. So when you ask for this, so the senior person or your auditee will answer what are their objectives and what are their targets and the programs they will do to achieve those targets. So when you are able to get one, for example, their target is to lower fall accidents, fall from height. So that's a target, and their objective is to lower it, and their objective is to lower it, and their programs is to, for example, they would implement a PPE program wherein they will require use of harness when working at heights. So that's the O, T, and P's. O, objectives, T, targets, and programs. Then that would cover the Pdca cycle, which is plan. So this is the planning part. Next would be you select one or two OTPs. So for example, let's choose the target of the company focusing on prevention of fall accidents. So this will still fall under the plan portion of the Pdca cycle. Then for the next question is, what do you do to achieve your target? So basically here you're asking what are the strategies of the safety department or any other department in order to achieve those targets. What will they do to reach their goal of, for example, having 0 fall accidents? So again, this will fall under the this time it will fall under the do because you are focusing on what the department will do in order to achieve their targets. Next, you will ask them, kindly present the programs, policies, and procedures, PPPs, you implement to achieve your targets. So this will again fall under the do. So when you ask them, so for example, you mentioned that your target is to have 0 fall accidents. So can you present any procedures in order to achieve this target? So in this turn, they will show you a specific, for example, this is the fall protection program of the company. So next, you will ask, are these PPPs documented? So basically, this is under the do cycle. So you are ensuring that not only they have programs or policies or procedures, but they have it in writing. That's very important in any safety management systems. So if, for example, it's documented, so we would also ask if the procedures have corresponding forms. For example, for the PPE, for the fall protection program, if they include a harness as part of their PPEs, they will surely have forms in relation to the harness, for example, the checklist on what to do or prior issuance of the harness. You have to check on this, and for example, They may also have forms in order to note that the person using it has or had been trained already. So again, this is under the do cycle. So that's it. So you can hold on to the forms. With these steps, in steps 5 and 6, you are already making an audit trail. So you can have some form of objective evidence in hand to make your case, or it doesn't necessarily mean you have a finding, but it shows the compliance of the safety department. Next, you also have to get the accomplished forms. Since they committed to these procedures and forms, they have to accomplish it. So you can ask for it and keep it as an objective evidence. Next, you also cover this Pdca cycle, do cycle. You also have to check the roles and responsibilities of the safety department. So there must be an assigned personnel for this. You have to identify the position that will be implementing the PPPs. That's very important. So there should be a clear line on who is implementing it and who is responsible if just in case these PPPs are not implemented. Next is he or she trained to do this? If not, does he or she have a training plan? So this time we're talking about the competency training awareness of the individual. So you can validate these two. So as you can see, we're covering a lot of elements of the OSHA's management system, or the new from the OSHA's 18001 to the new ISO 45001. So we're covering let's just make a quick recap since we are in the middle. So you get the objective targets programs, you get the operational control, the policies and procedures that they are implementing. So you get the documents and records, since you're asking here for the documents and the records of the accomplished forms. Since you have the forms accomplished, this will serve as records. Then you're targeting the roles and responsibilities and competence training and awareness on these last two parts. So next, once you ask this, you can now then ask. Of course, there's no perfect system and gaps are likely to happen. So you have to ask the auditee if gaps were already identified. So this will go under the check cycle. Then next, you can also cover the internal audit part. So this may not necessarily be under the internal audit department, as the organization may have a audit team or IMS audit team or OSHA's audit team to handle this responsibility. So you can check that too. That's another good score or point to check. Next, most importantly, the management plays a vital role in this. So you should also ask, is management aware of these deficiencies? Because this also falls under the check. And remember, you have to have buy-in from management in order for you to get a budget or get an approval on your PPPs. Everything has to start from the top and going down. So this is why this is a very important question. Next, of course, you'd ask, what are you doing to address this gap? So basically, you're identifying the non-conformance and how do you address this. It's important to document these gaps and what are your steps to address this and what is your target date of closure. So those are the important things you have to ask. Next, I guess that's it. So I'm surprised. It's already, this is only 13 questions. I forgot this is the last question for this lecture. So I have just to share that auditing is, to sum it up, auditing is a skill. So you have to work on this skill. And as you practice this from time to time during the audit, or you do it on your daily routine as a safety officer, you'll get the hang of it and you will improve on it. So basically, any department you have to audit, just in case you do a cross audit to the other departments, you can apply this 13 questions. I know this is an unlucky number, but this is a good way on starting your audit and growing from it. So thank you for listening, and please consider subscribing to my channel, click the notification bell, and also consider liking my video. That's all. Thank you.